Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Cerberus here, or Dark, whichever you call me. I'm fine with either one. Last video I did, I walked you through the tuning guide that your Fusion Elite comes with, especially if you're a beginner and you just got it. I didn't want players being confused with the Fusion Elite. It is definitely not a people marker, it's a person marker. There's so much the Fusion Elite can do that it can be very overwhelming, especially if you've just got one and you don't know what it can do. So today we're going to go a little bit beyond that, not too far, just something to give you more of an intermediate level. If you've gone out to the field and if you used the dangerous power method and you're like, man, is there something more to this marker? There is. Once again, it is not a people marker, it is a person marker. Anyways, so if you remember right, we talked about the OPR and the LPR. That's all we adjusted. We wanted our desired feet per second from our OPR, and then we got our shot from, smoothness or a little bit more on the ball from the LPR. I did not explain how that comes about, but I will explain it now. But we'll start back first off with what we have. Our tank that we're going to have, be it a Ninja, a Gorilla, whatever it may be, make sure when you get your tank, to give you a comparison, what I have 77 4500 Ninja SL tank. I have the Pro V2 Reg. My output pressure is 550. Make sure your output pressure is below 600. If your regulator has 4, 5, 6 as your output pressure and you don't have a 50, you can go ahead and put it at 6. You can try 5 if you would like. I find that 5 is almost close to the starving point, especially if you're trying to use ramping or you're shooting a lot of semi-auto. So bear that in mind when you're doing your settings. But if your tank is like mine, the regulator, and you're doing it's by 50s, 450, 550, 650, keep it at 550. I find that generally to be a real good all-around output pressure, and you'll find that to work well for you. Now, when you screw in your tank and you actuate your ASA is going to, of course, run through the body of the marker, and then your funnels, which actually your OPR and your LPR, they act like a form of funnels. Your OPR is going to affect the output pressure of your marker, and the LPR is going to affect the low pressure regulator of your marker. So that's going to work in conjunction with each other, but to do a true in-depth tuning, you're going to need to throw another variable into your tuning method, and you're like, what is that? That is your solenoid dwell. Your solenoid dwell is going to be a real big part on your tuning. And you're like, why is that? Well, the solenoid on default is 10. From marker to marker, it can be different. We're talking about just the Fusion Elite. That's all we're going to deal with because that's the marker that we have in this video. Now, your solenoid dwell is 10. That is a default dwell. That means that it's open for that length of time in milliseconds, and that's how much air is going to be charged to the solenoid. Now, it can create a issue with efficiency because what ends up happening is there's too much air on the ball if your solenoid dwell desired is actually lower than what the default is. I've seen some where it was higher, I've seen some where it was lower. What you're going to end up doing is doing this, taking your OPR and adjusting it to 260 feet per second. Then going into your board, you're going to adjust your solenoid dwell to either 7 or 9. Between 7 and 9. Man, it is going to be everywhere. I'm just going to tell you that up front. You're probably going to panic. You're going to have plus or minus 30. Don't panic. What you want to do is shoot a couple of rounds within that 30, plus or 30 window, and then go back on your board and go up one. And you're going to keep going up until you get a consistent pressure. You're going to get no more feet per second addition to it, and your margin from the 30 plus or minus is going to decrease gradually until you get a consistent shot. That's the desired dwell that you're going to have, is the most consistent shot and no addition to feet per second. Now, when you have that desired, ink in the middle solenoid dwell, you can, if you would like, you can leave it right where it's at, or you can go up one. So you can be like, okay, let's say I've seen some people's that was 10 and they went up one to 11. Mine is actually a 9, but I leave it at 10 because it actually, believe it or not, I can probably do it with a 9 if I play with the LPR. I'll show you what that means, what I mean by that later. But I normally want to get a smoother shot, so I go up to 10 because I'm going to actually make the LPR give me a smoother shot instead of forcing it to give me a mechanical dwell. I'll explain that later. Anyway, so once you get your method for that solenoid dwell out of the way, then you're going to go ahead and do your feet per second for your OPR. You're going to go inside, of course, taking your Allen key, and you're going to rotate until you get your operating pressure to, your feet per second to like 280, 290. A rule of thumb, going to tell you this up front, if you're playing, I play in Louisiana, a lot of our temperatures are cold. They fluctuate greatly. Like right now we're in a cold spell. So you can play in the morning and it's 35, and in the afternoon it's up to 70. That creates a tremendous difference in air pressure, and just tremendously. The one thing I like about the Fusion Elite, you can unscrew the LPR a little bit and give it a little bit more. Let me explain what the mechanical dwell is before I go any farther. I thought I wouldn't need to until later, but I'm already getting into it. Sorry. Let me explain what's going to end up happening. Your LPR is once again charging your solenoid, and it's actually giving you the shot that you want. But what it's also doing is it's affecting your RAM. What you can actually do is pull out the screw just a little bit, turning it out. So let's say it says to go 3 screws in for your fine tuning, and it's cold. You can then go out a little bit, and what you're doing is you're affecting the RAM and giving it more kinetic energy. What it actually does is when it hits the piston, it's actually going to hit it harder and make it stay open longer, and it creates a mechanical dwell. That's where that term comes from in stacked tube poppets, and you're actually creating a little bit more air on the ball. So when it's cold outside and you're sitting there like, I could increase my dwell. One thing that's really bad about dwell, let me tell you how dwell is going to work, okay? Dwell is not going to be stuck on one setting all the time. All right, just going to warn you that up front. Dwell varies on several things. One is the quality of paint. If you're using standard field paint, don't expect to have a good dwell. It could be anything. Make sure you're shooting extremely good paint. One thing the Fusion Elite likes it, you'll find out that you get a tremendous accuracy boost in good paint. Good barrel's going to affect it as well. Humidity, temperature outside, a lot of things affect dwell. But once you get your dwell desirably, which one works, and throughout the month you can kind of change it here and there. Just double check it and make sure your settings are working spot on, and you can go from there and mess with your dwell a little bit, but don't mess with it too much. One thing you don't want to do is, I recommend highly, especially the intermediate people, go ahead and take the back of your manual and go ahead and write down all your settings, at least something that you can remember every setting. So that way when you adjust something, you're not panicking because you don't remember what the previous one was working and now it's not working. What did you adjust? I recommend you at least get a notebook, like we call them speckly notebooks or office books or little journal books. You can use the back of your Fusion Elite manual. Make sure to keep all your settings that you adjust on your Fusion Elite, because once you get this baby working like you want it, I promise you'll be very most impressed with it. The best thing I ever did with my Fusion Elite for a smooth shot, I wanted to get the smoothest shot I could possible out of it. I've actually got the Fusion Elite with an SL Ninja tank, super light, and the Virtue Spire. I've actually got it to kick, just a little bit more than some of the high-end ones. We're talking like, high-end poppets. We're not talking about spoolies. It's hard to get a poppet to kick like a spoolie. The spoolies do have, depends on the brand, of course, they do have a little bit smoother shot, but we're talking about like an LV1. I can definitely get it close. If you're like saying, oh, he's pushing on the teetering edge of a 1500, no. I promise you, I will not say I can get it on the level of it, but I can get it dangerously creepy close, because it's quite impressive how low you can get it. Anyways, back to the subject. The smooth shot is going to involve highly around how you do the solenoid dwell. If you want efficiency, that's also going to revolve around the solenoid dwell. If you want to get more air on the ball, you probably run it on default and be just fine because it'll be open longer. You put a little bit more air on it if you're shooting a little bit farther. But I would definitely play with it because you don't want to have a solenoid open too long because it can turn your marker and it ends up using a lot of air that it doesn't really have to use. And especially in a Fusion Elite being a person marker more than a people marker, you can adjust it to specifically what you want it to do. It's really nice like that. Now, back to the subject we were talking about earlier. We were talking about cold weather. When you're dealing with temperatures that fluctuate and change a lot, you want to keep your feet per second anywhere between 280 and 290. And when you're saying 290, do you go above 290? I try not to, because normally if I go out and play, it's early in the day, and I normally play all day. I don't mind taking the Fusion Elite to a big game, shooting it for 6-8 hours at a time. It doesn't bother it any. I know a lot of people are like, do you worry about shooting it that much? No, not really at all. I don't even think about it. Just go and go do it. I know it's going to work. It's not a biggie for me. If you want to go play in a tournament right now, I got to sit up and go. I mean, not even a second thought. Well, that comes from knowing how my marker works, and being an intermediate level, you're getting close, and that's what we're here to help you with. Well, I'm here to help you with. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a happy medium between your solenoid dwell, your OPR, and then your LPR. Once you get all those set up, set your dwell just like it needs to be. Remember, you're going to have variables, either temperature, temperature outside, paint quality that you're going to have, the humidity that you can have outside. So make sure that you keep in mind that solenoid is going to fluctuate during the seasons. So keep that in mind. If you're like saying, can I leave it on 10? Yes, you can leave it on 10 if you like. That's no problem. I don't see an issue with it. But you'll just have a little bit more air on the ball. You might not get it as smooth as I've got mine. So just keep that in mind. Now, your OPR, your operating pressure, you're going to adjust it next. You're going to adjust it between 280 and 290. Then you're going to do your LPR. Remember, if you screw your LPR too far out, you're going to put more air on the RAM, which is going to inform more kinetic energy, which is going to cause more air on the ball. This means for a longer shot. Well, you're like, oh, that's what I want. I want a more efficient shot. Well, you're going to put it a little bit in the middle. Maybe 3 1/12, or maybe 2 11/12 of a turn. Whatever gives you the smoother shot, depending on how you set your solenoid. Now you're like saying, I want a little bit smoother shot than that. Be careful. One thing that you can do by an accident, if you screw that LPR too far in, don't panic if the gun does not fire. One thing I do not recommend, you're on the intermediate level. One thing I do not recommend is playing with either the OPR or the LPR with the marker not gassed up. Because there's pressures that come from these two with them being gassed up that will not actuate if it's degassed. So if you degas it and then you're playing with it, you can screw it all the way past it, and then when you gas it up again, it ain't firing. And I've seen people go, oh my gosh, it's not firing. And I'm sitting there like, is it gas? Did you gas up before you adjust everything? And then they just kind of like slump over and then they just walk off. And you're like, okay, well now I can see where that went. Anyways, I don't make fun of people, I don't, but because I've had a few incidences where first time I got a marker, I did not understand certain things. That's the reason why I ask questions, and that's the reason why I pass them on to y'all. Now, I'm going to be critical, and hopefully nobody takes it offensively. I don't think anybody will, but I'm going to tell you this. If you are not taking care of your Fusion Elite, and you're not lubing it, and you're not making sure everything works on it, and when you take it apart, it looks like junk, guess what? You're not getting any of these good fine-tuning settings done, period. I don't care how much you try. If the inside of this gun is not working correctly, nothing's going to happen. Nothing good. You'll never get the Fusion Elite to tune and be the marker you want it to be. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm a miracle worker, but I'm not that good. I'm sorry. But as long as you keep those three variables in line and make sure they're in a happy medium, you can really do a lot with the Fusion Elite and with honestly any other marker. But once again, it's something you're going to have to go out and go try it and go use it. I mean, now you're saying, does this And what if I hurt my marker? You really can't hurt the Fusion Elite. I've seen people screw the LPR too far in. I've seen people screw the OPR too far in, too far out. I've seen people gas them up with 850. I mean, you're not really going to hurt it. One thing about screwing in more output pressure, you're just going to put a lot more pressure on the marker than it has to have. You're talking about it already has a very small output pressure on it. It really doesn't need anything higher than it. I recommend 550, and that works and keeps it from being starved. Now, one thing about starving, like I was talking about earlier, when you I got my shot really smooth, that you can get to the point where you get such a smooth shot you can starve it. What you're actually doing is you've had the operating pressure so low that it's actually actuating the solenoid, but the next time you fire another round, it won't come out. It literally just goes, you hear cock, and then you'll actually hear the paint try to leave with whatever air is left over, and then nothing. That's called starving. That means your LPR is so low that the solenoid cannot fire the next round. Now, that comes from just LPR adjustment. You can go in and adjust it. If it's really cold outside, that will happen a lot with very soft, smooth shot settings. You will end up, because it's so cold outside that the air pressure is so much smaller, whereas throughout the day, it gradually increases. Just like tires on a car. I mean, you crank up your car and the light flicks on at, like, let's say it's 25 outside and it says low tire pressure. Now you drive down the road, all of a sudden it disappears and goes away. Tires are heating up because they're meeting concrete and it's getting hotter. The same way with your marker. As the day progresses, you can tune it back down to your smooth shot, but do warn you that starving does happen. One thing I do like about the Fusion Elite that I really do praise highly is that if you're really playing with a lot of smoother shots, if a paintball goes down into the actual breech and it's firing, if that paintball does not leave, it does not fire. It will stay there and the gun will quit and it will not fire. That's one thing about the Fusion Elite I highly praise, because I have seen people that I've tried to help them and they've had it where it was that far low, and the next time I fire it, it just goes and there's just soup coming out everywhere. Now, one thing also, remember we talked about in the previous video your bolt return? Yes, you will play with your bolt return as well. Do not let the bolt return go lower than the dwell. Since you are now playing with another setting, make sure your bolt return stays higher than the dwell. Normally 12, 15, you can stick it within there. Lowest number being for the quickest, snappier shot, smoother shot. The higher number for more air on the ball. Just keep that in mind when you're playing with it back and forth. You've kind of got a familiarity of it from the tuning guide video. From what I said, I'm just kind of going over it one more time so you get an understanding of it. And definitely I want to throw the cold weather out there at you, because when you're fine tuning it, weather will be your enemy, especially when you're trying to get better efficiency, because air does shrink in cold weather and does expand more in warm weather. So definitely wanted to throw that out at y'all. I wanted to throw out the different variables for your solenoid dwell. Don't panic. One thing that you can do if you're having a headache that day with trying to deal with it, go back to default and leave it and just go and play and have fun. The solenoid dwell is something you're going to kind of go from beginner to intermediate. It's going to be something you need to work on. Do not panic. I promise you, go to default and just tune it like regular and just go have fun. Don't make tuning this thing a nightmare for you. If you have problems with it, leave me a comment, leave me a message. I'll help you with it. I've asked tons of questions myself. I'm extremely familiar with the Fusion Elite over any marker. I can help you with it. That's not a problem. But don't let it give you a headache. Go back to my first video, read it over, and then come back to this video again and read it over. And yes, I can get more complicated than this, and you're probably like, oh my gosh. No, don't panic. I promise you. We're going to give it to you gradually and slowly where you can understand it. Now, if you have any problems, let me know. You know I'll help you. I'll help anybody. I don't like to see anybody confused. It's not fun when you have such a nice marker and you can't really use it really well. I'm not blaming anybody. It is just very complicated. But I'll make sure to make it as easy as I can possible for you. And I have no qualms about the Fusion Elite. I think it is a phenomenal marker, especially for the price. I enjoy using it. It is my primary marker. And if you look and told me, hey, gas it up and go play 6 to 8 hours, I'll do it. It does not bother it whatsoever. I've been in it, I don't know how many times. I'd lie to you if I gave you a count. I really do not know. But it's one of the easiest ones to work on. You can work on every aspect of it. That I can tell you. If there's any problems, any hiccups, let me know. I'd be glad to help you with it. But this is going to be your intermediate tuning guide video for it. Once again, make sure to watch the first one so you've learned everything about the board previously, and then we'll go into this one, which is going to be more of your intermediate, and then we have one more step, which is going to be your expert. Sorry, my hand is... Here we go. Let's say it again, all right? Let's say this is your beginner, your intermediate, expert. There you go, right? Anyways, so this is Dark. Adios.